Okay, so if you survived last week, you survived an awful lot from the book of Exodus and into the book of Leviticus. And like I mentioned last week, Leviticus, Exodus, Leviticus, and Numbers deal very specifically with the priests. And Leviticus is actually named after the tribe of Levi. It is the rules for the priests. So as we're picking up in chapter 10 of Leviticus, I want to kind of give you the theme of the book of Leviticus, which is holiness before the Lord. Holiness before Yahweh or Jehovah, the God of Israel. The priests in particular were called to a standard of holiness that is really almost unrealizable. I mean, it is so high and so extraordinary. And we open this week with the narrative of Nadab and Abihu, two of the sons of Aaron who offer unworthy fire or unclean fire on the altar, and they are punished. This story is meant to illustrate to us the demand, the cost, the requirement of holiness before God for the people of Israel. And again, I've emphasized this in the last 2 weeks, but again, this is about distinguishing Israel from the people around them. Archaeologically, when we look at a site from this time period, the late Bronze Age, early Iron Age period, the only way we can tell a site is Israelite is by one of two things. The most common is if there are no pork bones, there are no pig bones in their waste piles, their mittens, which is a word for garbage pit. If there's no pig bones, then we know that this is an Israelite site. The second way that we normally can denote them, and this is not as common and it's much more difficult, but is the use of limestone cisterns. The Israelites seem to have introduced the technology of keeping water in these large cisterns, these large water storage facilities in the caves and the bedrock of their region. And the Canaanites seem not to have needed to do that, mostly because they live down on the plains. The Israelites live higher in the mountains, and so they have that. A third marker, by the way, toward the end of Iron Age 1 and the beginning of Iron Age 2, is the presence of the name Yahweh in epigraphic evidence. Now, it's not very common. You don't see it very often until about 700 BC, but there is some evidence of that. But this, again, the holiness to the Lord, this is a holiness of attitude, a holiness of behavior, and it doesn't necessarily manifest in the archaeological record. And that's why it's hard to find an Israelite site in the ancient world.